Bagrasta indawo so unotozviziva kuti nini ndiri kufila oda kuita unga kuzviona sadaro kana daundiite sei ndipfugame pasi ozvandakuita uri kundinzwa ka asi kaunyatsokuza kandinzwa chete wakanditi ndiri jackpot, sang it that was so hot, like it in your mother tongue. Nechishona ndokupai ndokushedza ine mutupo ndokulava iri bo kana dishi remaoko ndozviita pasho ndokutenderedza musoro kunge zowina baby kana pagwaji nemubodroom inini ndiri heavy wondipedza nemajokes kunge Carl ndogara ndichisekerera everyday kunyemwerera.
Hey, good afternoon and habari to everyone in the world, to all my Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Latinos, all the black people around the world, and everyone else too. It's a blessing to be here this evening, and welcome to Soul Food Therapy. Hey, I'm just here doing my thing, showing you a whole lot of love. Hey, first thing, go to www.bantufm.com. Give them a like, tell them what's up, tell them what you like about them. Hey, hit them up on Facebook, IG, Twitter. Let them know what you got on your mind. Same thing with me. Hey, tell them you love my show on www.bantufm.com. Also, what I would love for you to do, hey, go to my inbox, Michael Roundel. Hey, give me some comments on some things that you like to talk about. Give me some comments on some of my past subjects. Also, my son, hey, watch out for him. CWR, Clashes with Roundels. Hey, check out his page on YouTube, his YouTube channel. And also give me a subscribe, hit that notification bell, likes, and give me some comments on Soul Food Therapy YouTube page. I'm here for you, and I'm here for all your cooking needs. Now, today, this is a show, if you are familiar with me, this is a show that talks about just everyday life along with cooking. We want to talk about mental, spiritual. We just want to be holistic here. And sometimes we're going to have healthy foods, and sometimes we're going to have naughty foods. Last week on the radio show, we had some healthy foods, so we're going to get a little naughty this week. But we're going to do it real easy. All right. But what we want to talk about is dealing. This week we want to talk about dealing with disagreements in relationships. Now, there's going to come a time in every relationship where there's going to be some kind of disagreement or some kind of thing that's going to come in between between you. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is healthy. There cannot be sunshine in every relationship every day. If everything's going good every day, it's kind of crazy. That's kind of unrealistic. So what we want to do is we want to focus in on those ways that we can kind of come together without having a big dispute. And some of us need to learn, some people need to learn little things. Hey, so some people need to learn little things or little tactics to help them when they have disagreements. I didn't have those things to help me, and my parents surely didn't have those things to help me, because sometimes you disagree, you begin to shout, accuse people and stuff like that. So we want to get away from that. Okay? So, without further ado, let's go ahead and move up to one of our first things that sometimes we argue about as a couple. One thing that we argue about as a couple sometimes is one or both of you feel like you misunderstood. While basically all relationships disagree and have to do with miscommunication, it's pertinent that we sit down and say, hey, wait a minute, just what are we arguing about here? What is the disagreement about? Because sometimes you can just have just a little misunderstanding about something, and you heard something wrong. Those things can happen. So hold on, let's wait a minute, communicate with each other, and make sure we heard what we heard. So that's one thing that we can focus on. That's one thing that we can focus on. The next thing is not making your relationship the top priority. Picture this, and I already know you've been there before. All right, you've been working, you're busy, you're doing everything. You're trying to make sure you worry about your career. You want your kids to be well taken care of. Ladies, y'all doing housework. Men, y'all doing outside work. You're doing everything. And all of a sudden, it's like you halfway don't even get a good night sometimes, barely, because you so busy running this rat race called life. And sometimes we forget that you have to make your spouse or your significant other a top priority. Outside of God, God being your top priority, outside of God, your top priority should definitely be your spouse and your family. You gotta make her feel like, especially a lady, you gotta make her feel like she means something to you. And men, ladies, make your men feel that way too. Also, money issues. Uh-oh, Lord have mercy. Woo! Money issues, Lord. If we don't run into them sometimes. And those money issues, disagreement about what should be paid, what shouldn't be paid, who's making more money. In some cases, you have some people get upset about who's making more money and stuff like that. So those are some things that we should not be fretful over. All right? Lack of intimacy. Oh. And that goes into paying attention to each other. Sex might feel more like an occasion. Sex is okay, but it's not about the sex itself. It's about the intimacy, the sensuality, the kinship, feeling close to someone, holding someone. Do you have that emotional connection with someone? And so you have to work on that lack of intimacy with that person that you have. All right? So that's another thing that really bogs down relationships. Growing apart is another thing that can kill a relationship. Growing apart, sometimes we don't realize that the other person evolves. They just grow up, and that's okay if a person grows up and starts doing different things. That don't mean that they're a whole different person. That don't mean that they're breaking away from you. Grab that person's hand and go along with them. All right? Might be something very important. Trust. Oh my goodness. Trust is one of those things where you just, if there's no trust, there's no relationship. You have to trust each other. Breaking trust, it kills a relationship. You have to be in a situation where you're willing to put your thoughts and your feelings in this person's hands. You can't have a fulfilling relationship if there's no trust at all. There has to be some kind of trust toward that person. All right? Now, let's get into our recipe for the day. Let's go ahead and hit it up. All right, we want to do something that mixes sweetness of a relationship together and bound you together as one. And what helps you bound together more than cookies? But what we're going to do is make a chocolate chip cookie cake. All right? First of all, we're going to take a cup and 3/4 of a cup of butter. We're going to take 1 egg and an egg yolk out of the egg. We're going to take 1.5 cups of chocolate chips, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, half a cup of sugar, half a cup of brown sugar. Now, I have light brown sugar here. Anytime you do cookies, though, it's very, very much suggested that you use dark brown sugar. I just didn't have any today, and I didn't feel like going out and get some. But it's very suggested that you get the dark brown sugar. The reason why you get dark brown sugar for your cookies because it has more molasses in it. It has more of a sweetness and a more, just a more thickness to it. Also, as far as your little seasonings, As far as your little seasonings and stuff, you're gonna need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I put a half a teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, and two teaspoons of cornstarch. Now, cornstarch is what really gonna make it soft. Gonna make it soft, baby. All right. Also, we're gonna use 1 3/4 cup of flour. And try not to get their name brand because we ain't commercialized. Nobody else, they ain't giving us no money. Know what I'm saying? All right. That we got going on here. Hey, let's go ahead and move on with this thing. Put on the trusty. All right, what we want to do first is, while we doing this butter, stick and a half of butter. Excuse me. We're gonna drop this off into our trusty so we're gonna get a stick and a half here. And I'm gonna guesstimate. I don't worry about certain things, I just guesstimate it. You can't get too much butter anyway. All right. Now what I'm gonna do is put both kinds of sugars in. I'm gonna put both kinds of sugars in. And then what I'm gonna do is give that a whip and let that bad boy cream. Cream, get on top. Cream, sugar, get rock. You remember that Prince? I just love that Prince. And my cameraman and my trusty assistant looking at me like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. We're gonna let that whip up for about 4-5 minutes. We're gonna let it whip for about 4-5 minutes. After that, we're gonna add our eggs too. We're gonna add our eggs. All right, while we're waiting on that 5 minutes ago, my trusty assistant gonna get my 9-inch pan. We're gonna put this in a 9-inch pan. You know what? I'm gonna make that bad boy a little thicker. I'm gonna put it in an 8-inch pan. Alright. While we talking about that, let's get into some tips. Oh, that looks good right there. So we're moving that on. Now, just because I said put chocolate chips in here, don't mean you can't put other things inside of this like nuts and stuff like that, okay? Don't mean you can put you can't put other things in there like that. Alright. Oh, that looks very, very good. It looks creamy. Alright, we're gonna scrape down the sides here. Let's scrape down the sides and we're gonna go all the way to the bottom with this. We're gonna go all the way to the bottom with this, scraping it all the way around. And what we want to do, I'll lay that right there. Now what we want to do, we're going to get your 2 eggs. Alright, we're going to crack 1 egg. Now, really tell you the truth, within a restaurant setting or anything like that, you do not want to crack, or any kind of setting actually, you don't really want to crack your eggs over your pan. That's a cardinal sin. But since I'm doing it for myself, I do what I want. But you really don't supposed to crack your eggs over the pan. That's 1 egg. And make sure your eggs are at room temperature. The reason why you want to do it at room temperature because the eggs, when they're cold, sometimes they can, when your eggs are cold, sometimes they don't spread throughout the mixture as well. And then you have that 1 egg yolk. We're gonna add that 1 egg yolk to it. And then we're gonna get this thing back started. We're gonna whip this bad boy back up, baby. We're gonna start it off real slow. Cause you know, ladies, we know you like it nice and slow, baby. Alright. Alright, once we get that nice and slowness in there, we're gonna hit it up with some flour. We're gonna hit it up with like 3-4 cups of flour. Now, please, even though we're doing cooking, we still wanna sift this bad boy. Alright, we still wanna sift everything. Nice and creamy. Look nice and good there. We love it. Alright, what we want to do also, while this is spinning, we want to add the 2 teaspoons of vanilla to this. So let's turn that down. We want to add that vanilla to it. And this is my vanilla I usually use for my cake frosting if I'm using straight out white. Now, you want some real good tasting stuff, use that vanilla bean. Woo! That vanilla bean paste, that's really good. Exciting, y'all. Exciting. Alright. Outstanding. Girl, you knocked me out. You know, I almost had a record deal with Epic. We're gonna scrape down the sides again, and what we want to do now is we want to put our flour in. We want to put our flour in. And this is what I love. I just love just doing food and stuff like that, being here for y'all, and just doing these treats. I hope y'all enjoy and I hope y'all follow along. I hope y'all fix this at your homes. You know, it'd be a nice little treat to fix up for the kids. Alright, as far as the flour, we said we're gonna use 1 3/4 cup of flour. So, my bad. You want to sift those ingredients in together. Remember, 1 3/4 cup of flour. And here is my 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, my teaspoon of baking soda, my 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. And remember that cornstarch is to make it more moist. We're using that to make it moist. Alright. We're gonna do like old boy said, shake it to the east, shake it to the west, shake it to the east, shake it to the west, hey. Please help me get some more assistance. My assistants are lame. But anyway, let's go ahead. Assistants, y'all want nuts in these? Alright. Never turn the thing on fast when you got flour and stuff in there. Always start it off slow. You do not want to overmix this. So do not turn it on fast. You just want to barely to mix. Alright? You just want to barely mix. And then what we're gonna do, we want to add our you didn't see that. we want to add our chocolate chips to it. We want to fold those in. And don't worry, it's gonna come together real well. Let's fold those in. Like I said, about a cup and a half of those. And we're just gonna fold them in together. Me personally, I love like nuts in my chocolate chip cookies, because the reason why is because I don't really care too much for chocolate by itself. I only have to have something with it, like caramel or something. So you're gonna fold this in with it. And you're gonna make sure you get all the way to the bottom. And ta-da, ta-da! You good to go. What I'm gonna do now is just spray this with some of my trusty oven spray. Well, not oven spray, but my trusty spray here. And what I am going to do, now you can do this another way. Now you can also cut out a square, a circle rather, and put it in the bottom of this doodad. Alrighty. And what you want to do is spread this out. Then go ahead and put the rest of it in here. So I'm gonna make sure I scrape this whole bottom of this real quick. Just want to scrape the bottom. And if you have to, use a smaller tool. If you have to, I'm using also a spatula, another kind of spatula instead of rubber spatula, to help matriculate this on. Excuse me. And it seems like this is working a whole lot better. Now we're gonna put this in the oven for about 22 minutes. For about a good 22 minutes. And this right here is your chocolate chip cake. Now actually this will be good at using it at the bottom of a chocolate chip cheesecake also. Now, like also another thing that you can do with this, a lot of folks think that you have to do things a certain way. There's no certain way of doing things. You actually can mix some graham crackers in that. And what you can do is put marshmallows on top of that and make a s'mores like chocolate chip. But let's go ahead, 10 tips on handling disagreements. 10 tips on handling disagreements. First of all, be direct with the person. Don't beat around the bush. Don't beat around the bush. Be very direct with the person and be forthcoming. Don't come with all this sideways talk, and stuff like that. Just be honest with the person, what you want to talk to them about, and just handle it in a correct manner. We always want someone to come to us with honesty in their hearts. So please come to someone, honesty in your heart. Talk about how you feel without blaming the other person. Sometimes we have a habit of blaming the other person when we talk about how we feel. No, be honest about how you feel. Now, you're not wrong about how you feel, but don't say, I'm feeling this way because you did so-and-so, or you keep doing this, or whatever like that. Never say always or never. You always do this. You always be doing this and that. You never do this or that. You never show me attention. You never take my side on things. You always go out and clown in public. Don't do that. That just brings more of a conflict on. All right. The next thing also is pick your battles. Everything ain't worth arguing about. Everything is not worth a quarrel. We argue over some things that don't even make sense. Left a dish in the sink. That's a big argument. Where are you going? Like might be going to the store, and you argue back and forth about whether the person going to a certain store. Why are we arguing over things like that? I messed up and made the wrong order. Well, I can go back and change the order. It doesn't take a big argument about it. And that's for men and women. We have to stop quarreling over small things that mean nothing. Pick your battles. All right. Listen to your partner. Out of all things that I've done wrong, I didn't listen. Sometimes some of us want to play the hero all the time. You can't play the hero all the time. Listen to your partner. Sometimes people do not want you to solve the situation for them. They want you to listen. Let them vent. Let them know how, they want you to know how they feel. So don't run and fix everything for a person. And stop all the, and just listen to people. Stop all the judging, like if your spouse or your significant other says something, don't judge what they say. Just help them out. All right. Don't automatically object to your partner's complaints. If they complain about something that you've done, or they have something to say about something you've done, or in your family or something like that, don't object to it automatically. Listen first. Like I said, that goes back to the listening thing. Listen. Take a different perspective. Walk in the other person's shoes. Life would be a whole lot better if you say, well, I see where this person is coming from. Let me walk in their shoes so I can see where they're coming from. How does this make this person feel? Does this hurt this person? What is what I'm doing tearing this person down? Can I do anything to build this person up? So put yourself in the other person's shoes. Do not show contempt for your partner. Don't show contempt for them. Don't show like you acting like you hate them or something, or they're getting on your last nerve. Don't show that. When you start acting like that, that makes just a whole bunch of more negativity happen within the relationship. And that leads right into my next one. Don't get overwhelmed by negativity. Don't get overwhelmed. Negative things happen in everybody's relationship. Things happen that we don't have control over. But we cannot get overwhelmed by the negative things that happen in our lives. We can't have a disagreement and just shut ourselves away. Or when something happened on our jobs, we don't talk to our spouse about it. Those negative vibes not only mess with your spouse, but mess with your kids too. You can't shut yourself off because something negative happened. Share it with each other. Vent to each other. All right? Let each other know. All right? Another thing is know when it's time for a time out. Know when it's time for a time out. Like I said, now a time out is not the other spouse trying to talk to you and you ignoring them. Silent treatment and all that. That's not what you do, people. That's making more of a more of a negative vibe in the household. It's causing more strain when you do things like that. So don't do anything like that. But if you need to take a time out, say, babe, I know I hear you, but can I just get myself sorted out for a minute and we'll talk about it in a few. Something like that. Always do things like that. Let them know that what they talking about is important. But let them know that you might need a little space at this moment, maybe about 15, 20 minutes. And don't let that time out last too long. All right? Show people that you care. All right? And the last thing that's outside of that top 10, I always say, pray for each other. Please always pray with each other and pray for each other as a couple. There's nothing that can help you more than prayer. All right? There's nothing more that can help you than prayer. You need that, man. Cherish it and cherish each other as best you can. All right, after about 20 to 25 minutes, this bad boy should be ready. Now, as you see what I've done here, now the outer ends of this is gonna brown before the middle does. Okay? It's gonna brown before the middle. So what you wanna do when you start seeing it get brown after the first 15 minutes, you wanna put some aluminum foil over it. Now, don't worry, the middle is gonna be soft when you first take it out of the oven. It's gonna be soft when you first take it out of the oven. You gotta wait till this bad boy completely cools. Now look, hey baby boy, baby girl, it's your world. You can do anything you want to. You can add marshmallow on top of that, marshmallow cream, have you something gooey. You can put frosting on the edges. You know, do your thing, sprinkles, whatever you want to do. It's your world. You know, same thing with your girl, man. You and your girl can get together, or you and your boy can go ahead and get together and do this, and just have fun in the kitchen. There's nothing wrong with it. Hey, create time for each other. Hey, speaking of creating time, it's about my time to go to www.bantufm.com. Check them out on Facebook, IG, and Twitter. Also, check out my son's YouTube channel. Hey, CWR Clash with Randall. Alright, Pod Clash. As he give you the latest and greatest wrestling news. And definitely go to the Soul Food Therapy YouTube channel. Give me subscribe, hit that notification bell, give us some likes, and let's continue to talk about this topic today. And if you need any more assistance on this recipe, let's go ahead, man. Hook it up. Man, hey, we love this thing. I'm about to cut into this bad boy right now. Even though it's still hot, I'm hungry. So I'm gonna cut into this bad boy right now. All right, then. Well, you take it easy, and I'm gonna go ahead about my business. Holla, peace, love, joy, and may God lead you on your path. All right.